If you're seeing this, it's not random. Listen until the end, chosen one.
Chosen one, pause for a moment and listen carefully. I carry an important and urgent message today, and this message is not for everyone. This message is only for those who truly walk the divine path of God. If you are not serious about God, if you mock spirituality, or if you are here out of curiosity, this message is not meant for you. But if you are a true follower of God, if your spirit has been heavy, questioning, and searching for answers, then this message has reached you at the exact moment heaven intended. God has been watching you quietly. He has seen your tears, your patience, and your long nights of wondering why you are still alone. And today He wants you to understand the divine reason behind your long season of singleness. This is not punishment. This is not delay. This is divine preparation. There is a reason God did not allow just anyone to walk beside you. There is a reason He protected your heart longer than others. Stay with me till the end, because what you are about to hear will bring peace to your mind, clarity to your heart, and confirmation to your spirit. Before we continue, chosen ones, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, tap the bell icon, and share this message with other chosen ones. And comment 777 to declare that you are aligned with God's divine timing and purpose.
God's separation is not rejection. Chosen one, I want you to hear this slowly, because this truth heals wounds that many never talk about. God's separation is not rejection. What you experienced was not abandonment, it was alignment. And there is a great difference between the two. Many of you spent years wondering why people drifted away from you. Friends changed, relationships faded, connections that once felt promising suddenly collapsed without explanation. And deep inside, a quiet question kept returning to your mind. What is wrong with me? Let me answer that without hesitation. Nothing is wrong with you. Something is right with you. When God places His hand on someone for a higher calling, He first removes what cannot go where He is taking them. You were not pushed aside. You were pulled apart. Separation is often God's first language with the chosen ones. Before He elevates, He isolates. Before He reveals, He conceals. Not because you are weak, but because you are valuable. You see, rejection wounds the soul, but divine separation strengthens it. Rejection makes you feel unwanted. Separation makes you feel alone, and the enemy loves to confuse the two. He whispers that you were left because you were not enough. But God says you were separated because you were too much for certain environments, certain people, and certain relationships. Think about it. You never truly fit in the way others did. Your spirit was different. Your thoughts were deeper. Your conscience was sharper. You felt things more intensely. That alone made it difficult for many to walk beside you for long. And God knew this. He knew that if He left you surrounded by the wrong influences, your calling would slowly suffocate. So He stepped in. That long season of being single was not empty time, it was sacred time. While others were distracted, God was shaping your inner world. While others were rushing into companionship, God was teaching you how to stand without leaning on anyone else for identity. This is not a punishment. This is training. Chosen one, loneliness feels painful only when you don't understand its purpose. But when you see it through God's eyes, you realize it was a shield. God was guarding your sensitivity, your heart, your future, and your assignment. He did not want your purpose diluted by people who could not carry your depth. There is something else you must understand. When God separates you, He also removes noise. Relationships create noise. Emotional attachments create noise. Expectations create noise. And God needed you quiet enough to hear Him clearly. That is why many of your most painful realizations came during solitude. That is why your spiritual awareness grew strongest when no one was there applauding you. You were learning how to hear God without distractions. You see, people often confuse love with attachment. God does not. God knows that some attachments delay destiny. Some relationships feel good emotionally but damage you spiritually, so God, in His mercy, steps in before the damage becomes permanent. This is why some relationships ended suddenly. This is why some people walked away without closure. This is why certain connections felt forced to break. It wasn't chaos. It was God quietly closing doors you were too emotionally invested to close yourself. And yes, it hurt. I will not deny that. You cried, you questioned God, you compared your life to others. You wondered why everyone else seemed chosen for love while you were left waiting. But hear me clearly now. God does not reward everyone at the same time. He prepares everyone differently. Others were being paired. You were being purified. God separates chosen ones early because their hearts are assignment sensitive. What destroys others temporarily could destroy you permanently. That is why your journey felt heavier. That is why God was stricter with you. That is why certain things others got away with, you never could. You weren't rejected by love. You were protected from harm. And here is something very important. God separates not only to protect you from others, but also to protect others from you. Your calling carries weight. Your destiny carries pressure. And not everyone is equipped to handle the transformation that comes with walking beside a chosen one. God spares them, and He spares you. This season of singleness forced you to face yourself, your fears, your insecurities, your expectations, your wounds. Without a relationship to distract you, everything rose to the surface. And while that process felt uncomfortable, it was necessary. Healing does not happen in noise. It happens in stillness. Chosen one, if God had placed you in a relationship before you understood your own worth, you would have compromised. You would have settled. You would have tolerated behavior that slowly eroded your spirit. God did not want that for you. So He removed the crowd. He removed the comfort. He removed the easy companionship. And in that silence, He began rebuilding you. You learned how to sit with yourself. You learned discernment. You learned emotional boundaries. You learned how to walk away without explaining yourself. You learned how to choose peace over attachment. These lessons cannot be learned in comfort. They are learned in separation. That is why your singleness lasted longer than you expected. God was not delaying you, He was deepening you. And let me say this boldly. When God separates you, He is preparing you for connections that will not drain you, confuse you, or diminish you. He is preparing you for alignment, not attachment, for purpose, not pressure, for peace, not performance. So stop calling it rejection. Call it divine refinement. You were not overlooked. You were set apart. And as we go deeper, you will begin to see that every closed door, every lonely night, every unanswered prayer was working together to protect what God placed inside you. God was protecting you from wrong covenants. Chosen one, now we must go deeper, because this is where many people misunderstand God. You thought God was withholding love from you, but in truth, He was shielding your destiny. Some doors did not open because if they had, your life would have shifted in a direction you were never meant to walk. Understand this clearly. Every relationship is a covenant, whether people admit it or not. It is not just emotional. It is not just physical. It is spiritual. When two people come together, their histories, wounds, mindsets, spirits, and future paths intertwine. God knows this. That is why He is very careful about who He allows close to a chosen one. You see, chosen ones carry spiritual weight. Your presence affects people deeply. You don't just date someone, you influence them. You awaken things in them. And not everyone is ready for that. Some people are drawn to you not because they are aligned with you, but because they want to feed off your light, your stability, your depth, or your healing nature. That is dangerous. God saw relationships you were emotionally excited about, but spiritually unsafe. You saw chemistry. God saw consequences. You saw potential. God saw patterns. You saw companionship. God saw compromise. And because He loves you, He said no when your heart said yes. Many of the relationships you wanted so badly would have turned into spiritual traps. Not because the other person was evil, but because they were unequipped. Unequipped people drain chosen ones. They depend instead of build. They consume instead of contribute. Over time, the chosen one becomes smaller, quieter, and spiritually tired. God would not allow that. Some of you were saved from marriages that would have silenced your voice. Some of you were protected from partners who would have constantly misunderstood you, questioned your calling, or subtly competed with your growth. Others were spared from emotional manipulation disguised as love. And yes, at the time, it hurt when those relationships ended or never started. You felt rejected. You felt confused. You asked God why He kept removing people you felt connected to. But now, I tell you the truth. God was not removing love. He was removing liability. There is a difference. Wrong covenants do not always look wrong at first. They often feel exciting, familiar, intense, and emotionally charged. That is why they are dangerous. Chosen ones are naturally empathetic. You see the good in people. You believe in redemption. You want to help, heal, and uplift. And many times, the enemy uses that strength against you by sending people who need fixing instead of people who are ready for partnership. God had to step in before your compassion became your captivity. Some of you would have married people who were still at war with themselves. And when you bind yourself to someone who has not healed, their battles become yours. Their insecurities become your burden. Their confusion becomes your chaos. Over time, you lose clarity, you lose peace, you lose yourself. God saw that future and said, "Not my chosen one." That long season of singleness was God saying, "I will not allow you to bleed where you were meant to build. I will not allow you to pour into someone who will never pour back. I will not allow your assignment to be delayed by emotional entanglements that look good but lead nowhere." Chosen one. Some relationships ended without explanation because God does not negotiate when destiny is at stake. He closes doors firmly when He knows you might reopen them emotionally. That is why certain people disappeared suddenly. That is why some connections fell apart overnight. God removed them before you bonded deeper. And let me say something that may be difficult to hear, but it is necessary. Some of the people you wanted were sent as tests, not blessings. They were mirrors to show you how much you still needed to learn about your worth, your boundaries, and your discernment. God protects chosen ones by allowing disappointment early so that devastation does not happen later. You were protected from soul ties that would have taken years to break. You were protected from emotional cycles that repeat generational pain. You were protected from choosing familiarity over purpose. And you were protected from mistaking attention for alignment. God knows that once a chosen one enters a covenant, they are loyal to the core. You don't leave easily. You don't give up quickly. You endure longer than you should. And because God knows your heart, He blocked certain relationships before they could fully attach to you. That is mercy. Your singleness was not God denying you companionship. It was God preserving your future peace. It was God saying, "I would rather have you lonely for a season than broken for a lifetime." Chosen one, there are relationships that feel good now but cost everything later. God loves you too much to let you learn that lesson the hard way. So He removed the option entirely. And here is the beautiful truth. When God blocks wrong covenants, He is making space for right alignment. He is ensuring that when love does arrive, it will not compete with your calling. It will support it. It will not drain you. It will strengthen you. It will not confuse you. It will bring clarity. So stop grieving relationships that never happened or ended abruptly. Thank God for them. Thank Him for the protection you didn't understand at the time. Thank Him for loving you enough to say no when you were begging for yes. Because the love God is preparing for you will not require you to shrink, struggle, or sacrifice your soul. It will recognize you, respect you, and walk with you in peace. And as we move forward, you will see that God wasn't just protecting you from others. He was also preparing you to be whole before He joins you to anyone else. Chosen one, there is another layer to this protection that many overlook. God was not only guarding you from who they were at the time, but from who they would never become. Some people promise growth, change, and commitment, but God already sees the end of the road. He sees who is willing to evolve and who only speaks about it. You were saved from investing years into people who would remain emotionally immature while expecting you to carry the weight of the relationship alone. God also understands timing better than you ever could. Even the right person at the wrong time becomes the wrong covenant. Some connections were not evil, they were premature, and premature unions often create permanent scars. God refused to let you build something sacred on an unstable foundation. This is why you often felt a strange restlessness in potential relationships. Something never fully settled in your spirit. You tried to convince yourself it was fear, but it was discernment. Your spirit was rejecting what your emotions were trying to accept. God speaks through unease long before he speaks through clarity. Chosen one, understand this truth deeply. You were not meant to struggle in love. You were not meant to beg for consistency, loyalty, or understanding. God was not preparing you for survival mode relationships. He was preparing you for partnership that feels safe, aligned, and peaceful. The delay was not denial, it was precision. God was teaching you the difference between emotional hunger and spiritual readiness, between attraction and assignment, between companionship and covenant. And now, because of that long season of waiting, you will never again confuse intensity with intimacy. What God is preparing for you will not rush you, pressure you, or drain you. It will meet you whole, steady, and secure. And when that moment comes, you will look back at every blocked relationship and quietly say, "Thank you, God." God needed you whole before union. Chosen one, listen to me carefully now, because this truth carries weight. God does not join broken pieces together and call it destiny. He does not heal one person by allowing another to bleed on them. God is a God of order, and order begins within. Many people rush into relationships hoping love will fix what they refuse to face. God will never allow that for a chosen one. He needed you whole before union, not perfect, but aware. Not flawless, but healed enough to stand without losing yourself. That long season of singleness forced you into uncomfortable honesty. You had nowhere to hide, no relationship to distract you, no emotional crutch to lean on. And slowly, God began to show you yourself, your triggers, your fears, your abandonment wounds, your need for validation, your habit of overgiving and under-receiving. This was not exposure to shame you, it was revelation to heal you. You see, chosen ones often carry wounds from early life: rejection, neglect, being misunderstood, or having to grow up too fast. And if those wounds are not addressed, they show up later as unhealthy attachment, fear of being alone, or tolerating what should never be tolerated. God loves you too much to allow that cycle to repeat. So he sat you down. He allowed silence. He allowed waiting. He allowed you to feel what you were avoiding. Because healing does not happen when you are constantly emotionally occupied. Healing happens when you finally listen to what your soul has been trying to say. God needed you to learn the difference between love and dependency, between companionship and fear of loneliness, between choosing someone and needing someone. Until those lines were clear, union would have been dangerous. Chosen one, if God had sent someone into your life before you learned self-worth, you would have made them your source. And God will never share his place in your life with another human. No person was meant to carry the weight of your identity, your peace, or your purpose. So God taught you how to stand alone. You learned how to calm your own storms. You learned how to sit with your thoughts without running from them. You learned that being alone does not mean being unloved. It means being strong enough to not settle for noise just to avoid silence. And slowly, without you even realizing it, your standards changed. What once excited you no longer impressed you. What once felt normal now felt draining. You began to crave peace over passion, clarity over chaos, depth over excitement. That is growth. God was reshaping your emotional foundation. He was teaching you boundaries. He was showing you that saying no does not make you cold, and walking away does not make you cruel. It makes you wise. Chosen one, unhealthy love feels intense. Healthy love feels safe. And God needed you to experience safety within yourself before He entrusted you with safety in another. That is why certain people never felt right, even when they checked many boxes. Your spirit had matured, your discernment had sharpened, and God was training you to listen to it. This season also taught you patience, not passive waiting, but grounded patience. The kind that does not chase, beg, or force. The kind that trusts God even when the timeline feels uncomfortable. That patience is not weakness, it is spiritual strength. You are no longer easily impressed. You no longer confuse attention with affection. You no longer tolerate inconsistency just to feel chosen. That version of you had to die before union could be safe. God was protecting not just your future partner, but you. Because a healed, chosen one loves differently. They don't cling. They don't control. They don't lose themselves. They walk in love without fear. And hear me clearly now. When God finally joins you to the right person, you will not feel the need to prove your worth, chase validation, or sacrifice your peace. You will meet them whole. They will meet you whole. And what you build will be rooted in stability, not survival. This is why God waited, not to punish you, not to tease you, but to ensure that when love arrives, it does not become another wound you must recover from. You were being prepared for a union that adds to your life, not one that drains it. And now that wholeness is forming within you, you are closer than you realize to what God has been protecting all along. God needed you. Whole before union. Chosen one, listen to me carefully now, because this truth carries weight. God does not join broken pieces together and call it destiny. He does not heal one person by allowing another to bleed on them. God is a God of order, and order begins within. Many people rush into relationships hoping love will fix what they refuse to face. God will never allow that for a chosen one. He needed you whole before union, not perfect, but aware, not flawless, but healed enough to stand without losing yourself. That long season of singleness forced you into uncomfortable honesty. You had nowhere to hide, no relationship to distract you, no emotional crutch to lean on. And slowly, God began to show you yourself, your triggers, your fears, your abandonment wounds, your need for validation, your habit of overgiving and under-receiving. This was not exposure to shame you. It was revelation to heal you. You see, chosen ones often carry wounds from early life. Rejection, neglect, being misunderstood, or having to grow up too fast. And if those wounds are not addressed, they show up later as unhealthy attachment, fear of being alone, or tolerating what should never be tolerated. God loves you too much to allow that cycle to repeat. So, He sat you down. He allowed silence. He allowed waiting. He allowed you to feel what you were avoiding. Because healing does not happen when you are constantly emotionally occupied. Healing happens when you finally listen to what your soul has been trying to say. God needed you to learn the difference between love and dependency, between companionship and fear of loneliness, between choosing someone and needing someone. Until those lines were clear, union would have been dangerous. Chosen one, if God had sent someone into your life before you learned self-worth, you would have made them your source, and God will never share His place in your life with another human. No person was meant to carry the weight of your identity, your peace, or your purpose. So God taught you how to stand alone. You learned how to calm your own storms. You learned how to sit with your thoughts without running from them. You learned that being alone does not mean being unloved. It means being strong enough to not settle for noise just to avoid silence. And slowly, Without you even realizing it, your standards changed. What once excited you no longer impressed you. What once felt normal now felt draining. You began to crave peace over passion, clarity over chaos, depth over excitement. That is growth. God was reshaping your emotional foundation. He was teaching you boundaries. He was showing you that saying no does not make you cold, and walking away does not make you cruel. It makes you wise. Chosen one, unhealthy love feels intense. Healthy love feels safe. And God needed you to experience safety within yourself before He entrusted you with safety in another. That is why certain people never felt right, even when they checked many boxes. Your spirit had matured, your discernment had sharpened, and God was training you to listen to it. This season also taught you patience. Not passive waiting, but grounded patience. The kind that does not chase, beg, or force. The kind that trusts God even when the timeline feels uncomfortable. That patience is not weakness, it is spiritual strength. You are no longer easily impressed. You no longer confuse attention with affection. You no longer tolerate inconsistency just to feel chosen. That version of you had to die before union could be safe. God was protecting not just your future partner, but you. Because a healed chosen one loves differently. They don't cling, they don't control, they don't lose themselves. They walk in love without fear. And hear me clearly now. When God finally joins you to the right person, you will not feel the need to prove your worth, chase validation, or sacrifice your peace. You will meet them whole. They will meet you whole. And what you build will be rooted in stability, not survival. This is why God waited, not to punish you, not to tease you, but to ensure that when love arrives, it does not become another wound you must recover from. You were being prepared for a union that adds to your life, not one that drains it. And now that wholeness is forming within you, you are closer than you realize to what God has been protecting all along. Chosen one, there is a maturity God was forming in you that could not be rushed. Maturity that comes from facing yourself without excuses, from learning how to self-soothe instead of seeking constant reassurance, from discovering that your value does not rise or fall based on who chooses you. God needed you to become emotionally self-governing. You had to learn how to respond instead of react, how to pause instead of panic, how to sit with discomfort without running into the arms of familiarity. These are not small lessons. These are the foundations of healthy love. Without them, even good relationships become exhausting. Some of you had patterns God needed to break. Patterns of overgiving, people-pleasing, rescuing others, or staying longer than you should. Patterns passed down through family lines. Patterns disguised as loyalty, but rooted in fear. God was not just healing you. He was stopping generational cycles through you. This season also taught you discernment in silence. You learned that not everyone deserves access to your heart, your energy, or your inner world. You became selective, not because you hardened, but because you became wise. That wisdom is protection. Chosen one, God was teaching you how to be content without being complacent, how to desire companionship without desperation, how to hope without forcing outcomes. That balance is rare, and it is necessary for the calling you carry. You now understand that love is not meant to complete you. Love is meant to complement you. Completion comes from God alone, and because you learned that, you will never again hand your power to another person. This is why your future relationship will feel different. It will not be based on fixing, saving, or proving. It will be built on mutual respect, shared values, and spiritual alignment. Two whole people choosing each other freely. So if you ever wondered why God made you wait while others rushed ahead, this is why. He was protecting you from becoming someone you were never meant to be, just to keep someone you were never meant to have. You were not delayed, you were developed. And now, the version of you standing here is strong enough to love without losing themselves. Your calling required undivided focus. Chosen one, this is where many people misunderstand your journey. They see your singleness and assume lack. God sees it and calls it strategy. Your calling required focus, and focus demands space. God could not afford distractions in your formative season. You carry an assignment that cannot be fulfilled halfway. It demands clarity of mind, depth of spirit, and emotional availability for God first. Relationships, even good ones, require time, attention, compromise, and emotional labor. God knew that if He introduced romantic responsibility too early, your vision would blur and your sensitivity to His voice would weaken. That is why He kept you alone longer than others. God often removes companionship when He is about to give instruction. Throughout Scripture, God spoke most clearly to those who were willing to step away from noise. Solitude sharpens discernment. Silence strengthens hearing. You were being trained to recognize God's voice without confusion. Chosen ones are not meant to live on autopilot. You are meant to see, sense, and discern. That requires mental stillness. That requires emotional order. God needed you uninterrupted so He could shape your thinking, correct your beliefs, and strengthen your spiritual backbone. While others were building emotional dependence on partners, God was building spiritual dependence in you. While others were distracted by maintaining relationships, God was revealing purpose. This is not superiority, it is responsibility. Some of you felt a constant internal pull toward growth, learning, and inner transformation. That was God calling you deeper. But deep work cannot be done while constantly explaining yourself, compromising your values, or managing emotional expectations. Your singleness protected your energy. Chosen one, understand this. Emotional attachment is powerful. It can either fuel your calling or drain it. God knew that at that stage of your life, the wrong attachment would exhaust you. You would give more than you receive. You would pour into someone who could not pour back, and your calling would suffer. So God simplified your environment. He removed relational complexity so He could deal with you directly. He wanted your obedience before your union, your alignment before your assignment, your clarity before your companionship. You were also being trained in discipline, discipline of thought, discipline of emotion, discipline of decision-making. Relationships expose weaknesses, and if those weaknesses are not addressed first, they become points of compromise later. God was building your inner authority. You had to learn how to make decisions without seeking approval, how to trust your discernment without validation, how to stand firm when misunderstood. These traits are essential for the path you are walking, and they are almost impossible to develop when you are emotionally entangled. Chosen one, some of you noticed that every time you got close to someone romantically, your spiritual focus weakened. Your prayers became inconsistent. Your peace became unstable. Your intuition became cloudy. That was not coincidence. That was God showing you that this was not the season. God does things in order. Calling comes before companionship, purpose before partnership, identity before intimacy. When these are reversed, confusion follows. You are also being prepared for leadership. And leadership is lonely before it becomes influential. God trains leaders in isolation so they learn to draw strength from Him, not applause or emotional reassurance. That is why you became self-motivated. That is why you learned how to encourage yourself. That is why you grew comfortable walking alone. This season was not about denying you love. It was about protecting the mission God placed inside you. A mission that requires clarity, courage, and consistency. And here is the truth many do not understand. When your calling is strong, your relationships must be stable. God waited to introduce love until your purpose could stand without being shaken by it. So, if you ever felt like your life was on pause while God worked on your inner world, know this. He was not delaying you. He was positioning you. Your singleness was not a gap. It was a training ground. And everything you learned in that quiet season is about to support the next chapter God is preparing to open for you. Chosen one, focus is a form of obedience. Many people pray for direction but resist the discipline required to receive it. God knew you had the capacity to carry clarity, so He removed what would compete for your attention. You were not being deprived, you were being trusted. There were moments when you felt restless, as if something within you was calling for more. That was not loneliness. That was purpose stirring. Purpose does not remain silent when ignored. It presses, it nudges, it unsettles comfort. And God allowed that inner tension so you would not settle for a life that looked good but felt empty. This season taught you how to recognize distractions disguised as blessings. Not everything that feels good is sent by God. Not every open door leads forward. You learned how to wait, how to listen, and how to say no without guilt. Those skills are rare. They are marks of spiritual maturity. God was also teaching you stewardship. Stewardship of your time, stewardship of your emotions, stewardship of your energy. Before God entrusts a chosen one with a partner, He ensures they can manage themselves. You proved that in this season. You learned how to invest in growth instead of escape, how to seek understanding instead of attention, how to build your inner life instead of performing for approval. That kind of discipline will carry you far beyond relationships. Chosen one, when God finally brings someone into your life, they will not interrupt your calling. They will understand it. They will respect your focus. They will walk with you, not compete with your mission. So if you ever felt like God was keeping you single while everyone else paired up, remember this: He was not withholding love. He was refining purpose, and purpose always comes first. God was refining your standards and discernment. Chosen one, this season did something powerful inside you, even if you didn't notice it at first. It raised your standards and sharpened your discernment, not the kind of standards rooted in pride or unrealistic expectations, but standards born from wisdom, experience, and spiritual clarity. Early on, you were more open, more flexible, more willing to explain yourself, adjust yourself, and tolerate things that disturbed your peace. You thought that was love. God knew it was a lack of discernment, so He slowed you down. Waiting changes vision. When you are alone long enough, you begin to see clearly. You start noticing patterns instead of potential. You hear tone instead of promises. You watch behavior instead of believing words. That is discernment. And discernment only develops when emotions are no longer running the show. God had to remove you from emotional urgency so you could see people as they are, not as you hope they will become. Chosen one, desperation lowers standards. Fear of being alone makes people accept inconsistency, emotional unavailability, and spiritual mismatch. God knew that if He gave you companionship too early, you might have chosen relief over alignment. So He trained your patience. Over time, your tolerance for confusion disappeared. Your appetite for chaos faded. You stopped romanticizing struggle. You stopped seeing emotional intensity as passion. You began craving peace, honesty, and stability. That shift was not accidental. It was refinement. God was teaching you how to listen to your spirit instead of your wounds. Your discernment became quieter but stronger. You no longer needed dramatic signs or obvious red flags. You could sense misalignment early. A subtle discomfort, a lack of peace, a feeling that something was off even when everything looked fine. That is spiritual maturity. Chosen ones do not rush decisions. They feel them deeply and choose wisely. You also learned the power of boundaries. You realized that access to you is earned, not given. That your time, energy, and emotional availability are valuable resources, and you stopped overextending yourself to prove your worth. This is where many people get it wrong. They think higher standards mean you became difficult or cold. In truth, you became clear. Clear about what you will not tolerate. Clear about what you need. Clear about what aligns with your values and calling. God was preparing you for a partner who would meet you at that level, not someone who would constantly need reassurance, fixing, or emotional management. Chosen one, Discernment protects peace, and peace is non-negotiable for your assignment. You also learn to differentiate attraction from alignment. Attraction is instant. Alignment is revealed over time. God taught you to wait long enough for patterns to show themselves. Words fade, habits remain. Consistency exposes character. That wisdom did not come from theory. It came from waiting. Some of you wondered why you lost interest so quickly in people you once would have chased. That is growth. Your spirit outgrew what your emotions once desired. You no longer entertain what does not feed your soul. God refined your taste. You began to value emotional intelligence, accountability, and spiritual depth over charm and excitement. You learned that chemistry without character leads to confusion, and connection without values leads to compromise. Chosen one, this refinement was necessary because your future relationship will require discernment to maintain, not just attraction to start. God was preparing you for longevity, not temporary excitement. Your singleness trained you to walk away early instead of staying too long, to trust your intuition without needing proof, to choose peace even when loneliness tries to negotiate. This is strength, and now, because of this refinement, you are no longer easily impressed, easily swayed, or easily convinced. You see clearly, you choose carefully, you wait confidently. That is why God delayed companionship. He was elevating your standards so you would never again have to lower yourself to feel chosen. You already are chosen, and as we move forward, you will begin to understand that this discernment was also protection against settling when pressure increased. Because the enemy often attacks chosen ones not with obvious evil, but with almost right options. God made sure you could tell the difference. Chosen one, discernment also taught you something quiet but powerful. It taught you that peace is a signal. When something is right, it does not rush you. It does not confuse you. It does not keep you guessing. God trained you to notice when your nervous system was calm instead of constantly alert. That calm is not boredom, it is safety. You learned that true alignment does not require convincing. It flows, it settles, it brings clarity instead of questions. And because of this, you stopped forcing connections. You stopped chasing explanations. You stopped trying to make people understand your depth. God was teaching you self-respect. You also learned that discernment means trusting what you sense even when logic tries to override it. There were moments when someone looked perfect on paper, but something in your spirit pulled back. Earlier in life, you would have ignored that feeling. Now, you honor it. That is growth. Chosen one, discernment is not suspicion, it is awareness. It does not make you closed, it makes you selective. And selectivity is essential for someone carrying your calling. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. This season also taught you restraint. You no longer rush to explain yourself when misunderstood. You no longer feel the need to prove your intentions. You let truth reveal itself over time. That restraint protects your energy and preserves your peace. God refined your emotional hearing. You can now sense inconsistency before it becomes conflict. You notice when words and actions do not align. You recognize when effort is one-sided, and instead of trying harder, you step back. That is wisdom. Chosen one, this refinement ensures that when the right person arrives, you will recognize them not by excitement alone, but by stability, consistency, and shared values. You will not be distracted by surface-level charm because your spirit now craves depth. You are no longer searching blindly. You are discerning clearly. And that clarity is one of the greatest gifts God gave you during your season of waiting. The enemy tried to make you settle. Chosen one, this part requires honesty and courage because not everything you faced came from God. Some of what you endured was resistance. When the enemy realizes he cannot destroy a chosen one, he tries to delay them. And one of his favorite tools is pressure. Pressure to settle. Pressure to compromise. Pressure to accept what is available instead of what is aligned. You felt it, didn't you? The quiet voice that whispered, "Maybe this is as good as it gets." The fear that said, time is passing. The comparison that said, everyone else is moving forward but you. The exhaustion that said, just choose someone so you don't have to be alone anymore. That was not God. The enemy knows that chosen ones are most vulnerable when they are tired, lonely, or emotionally worn down. That is when he presents almost right options. People who are kind but not aligned, available but not committed, interested but not capable of walking with you at the level your calling requires. And those options look tempting when you are weary. The enemy does not usually send obvious chaos to chosen ones. He sends comfort without purpose, familiarity without growth, relationships that feel safe enough to stay, but empty enough to slowly dull your spirit. God had to protect you from that. There were moments when settling felt reasonable, logical. You told yourself you could make it work. You could adjust. You could compromise a little. But every time you tried to lower your standards, something inside you resisted. That resistance was not arrogance. It was the Spirit of God within you saying, this is not it. Chosen one, settling is dangerous for people like you. Because you are loyal. You endure. You adapt. You give more than you should. And once you commit, you don't leave easily. The enemy knows this. So he tries to trap you early in relationships that slowly drain your fire. God intervened. Some connections never progressed beyond a certain point because God would not allow deeper attachment. Some relationships became uncomfortable because God removed His grace from them. Some people grew distant because God was closing the door quietly. And yes, that was confusing at times. You wondered why things kept falling apart right when they seemed stable. But stability without alignment is stagnation, and God will not let a chosen one stagnate. The enemy also used external pressure, family asking questions, friends offering opinions, society placing timelines on your life. All of it designed to make you doubt your discernment and rush your decisions. But God gave you something stronger than pressure. He gave you conviction. Conviction kept you awake at night when something felt off. Conviction made you uncomfortable in situations others would have tolerated. Conviction made you walk away even when it hurt. That conviction was God's protection working from the inside out. Chosen one, every time you resisted settling, you broke a pattern. Patterns of choosing familiarity over growth. Patterns of accepting less to avoid loneliness. Patterns passed down through generations. You were the interruption. That is why the pressure felt intense. The enemy wanted you to believe that being single meant being behind. God wanted you to understand that being single meant being preserved. Preserved from wrong timing, preserved from wrong attachments, preserved from choices that would cost you peace. And here is the truth. Settling does not bring rest. It brings regret. It quiets loneliness temporarily, but creates deeper emptiness over time. God loves you too much to let that happen. So, He allowed the waiting. He allowed the discomfort. He allowed the silence. Because temporary loneliness is easier to heal than long-term compromise. Chosen one, you were not resisting love. You were resisting distraction. You were not avoiding commitment. You were avoiding captivity. And every time you chose patience over panic, you strengthened your spiritual authority. Now, because you did not settle, you are able to recognize alignment without fear. You are able to choose without pressure. You are able to wait without anxiety. The enemy failed, and what God has preserved for you will not require you to shrink, rush, or silence your discernment. It will meet you where you are, not pull you backward to where you used to be. Your refusal to settle was not stubbornness, it was obedience. Conclusion: your season is shifting. Chosen one, take a deep breath now. Let your shoulders relax. Let your mind settle, because after everything you've heard, one truth should be clear. Nothing about your journey was wasted, not the waiting, not the silence, not the lonely nights, not the questions you whispered to God when you felt forgotten. God was never absent. He was intentional. Every delay carried purpose. Every closed door carried protection. Every season of singleness carried preparation. You were not being withheld from love. You were being preserved for alignment. And there is a difference. You were shaped in solitude so you would not lose yourself in union. You were refined in waiting so you would not settle under pressure. You were strengthened in silence so you would recognize peace when it arrives. That is not accidental. That is divine craftsmanship. Chosen one, your story does not follow the world's timeline because your calling does not serve the world's agenda. You move by God's order, not society's expectations. And what God prepares carefully, He releases purposefully. Trust this. What is coming will not confuse you. It will not rush you. It will not cost you your peace. It will feel steady. It will feel safe. It will feel aligned. And when it arrives, you will understand why everything before it had to unfold exactly as it did. Until then, stand confidently in who you are becoming. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not lacking. You are chosen, protected, and guided. Before we close, chosen ones, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tap the bell icon so you don't miss what God is releasing next. Share this message with other chosen ones and comment 777 as a declaration that you trust God's timing and honor His process. Walk in peace. Walk in clarity. Walk in faith. Your season is shifting.